India will square off against Australia in the Women's World Cup semi-final. Today, a clash of the titans. To reflect on this, we have a special conversation with ace commentator R. Daniel Norcross. Let's quickly listen in.
Hello and welcome from Cape Town. Today we are discussing about the Women's World Cup, and yes, India is in the semi-final, and today to talk more about it is a voice who's often heard most in the world and the face you don't see on your radio channel. That's Daniel Norcross, joining me live from Cape Town. Daniel, what's your view of the four semi-finalists?
I think it's kind of perfect, isn't it, for the tournament? The hosts have made it. There was a concern that they wouldn't after they lost their first game against Sri Lanka. They're going to be there. The holders, Australia, are going to be there, and they need to be. They are the best side. India, the biggest cricketing nation in the world, is there, and we need that for the eyeballs. And England, who are, second or third best team, they're vying with India. Both England and India on their day can beat any side. The Australia-India semi-final is the one that's going to be really intriguing to me. I think England probably outclass South Africa, largely because South Africa are missing, as we've mentioned, three of their big players, Lizelle Lee, Mignon du Preez, Dane van Niekerk, are out. But for India and Australia, you can see Smriti Mandana taking any attack apart. If she gets going, Shafali Verma as well, Harmanpreet, the strength of India's batting, and we've also seen how their seam bowling is coming to the fore. Australia are a formidable force. Yes. They'll be favourites and England will be favourites, but India can spring a surprise, I think, more likely than South Africa. So I guess if you're a betting man, England-Australia is the likely final, but it could well be England-India in the final.
We've spoken about the strength of Indian batting, Daniel, but let me bamboozle you with some stats. 41, 42 and 43 are the power play scores, which are a tad bit slow for someone like Australia. So what is your mantra to the Indian team when they come in and bat?
Go hard, hard, hard. Smriti Mandana and Shafali Verma, if they can get Australia off, get India off to a fast target, if they can get beyond 50 in the power play, Australia aren't used to having pressure on them because they are the best side in the world. Put them under pressure and see what happens. And if I was Indian and I was winning that toss, I would be batting. I'd be getting my strong suit out there straight away, and I'd go really hard at those Australian bowlers and see what happens. Just see what happens. It's like buying a lottery ticket, having Shafali Verma, Smriti Mandana, Jemima Rodrigues, Harmanpreet Kaur, and tell them, look, you're not going to win a game with 130. You're going to need 160, 170. Stop at nothing. Go hard.
What about the spin bowling? They bowled 15 overs in a spin. India has that spin deep attack. Do you think it's got enough teeth to bite into the Australian batting?
I don't think India's spinners have come to the party yet, to be honest. We need to see more from Dipti. I don't think Radha Yadav has shown what she can do. So I think the more strength there is really in Thakur. I love the way she's been bowling in this tournament, and they can make early inroads. That'd be great. Problem that everybody faces when they play Australia is you take 5 wickets and still a great batter comes out. I mean, Talia McGrath is the number 1 batter in the world. She's coming in at, was it 6? That's crazy. Only Australia have that depth. So, look, wickets can be important, but that's why I think getting runs on the board first, that's the way to bamboozle the champions.
We saw 2 of the best batters from India who are under 19. We're talking about Richa Ghosh and Shafali Verma. Your quick observation in the last fortnight, what have you seen? Are you impressed with the way they've carried themselves?
More with Ghosh than I am with Verma. I know what Verma can do, and she needs to score some runs against Australia, I think, but we know she can. Her great strength is the cut. She plays brilliantly off the back foot. But she's going to go hard. She's going to take risks. And so far, it hasn't really come off for her. But that means she's dangerous because we know how good she is. She's one of the most naturally talented batters in world cricket. If she gets off to a flyer, that could do for Australia.
India has played all their matches mostly here, and they know where the wind condition and the pitch condition. And we are playing at 5, 6 and 7 strips right now, which are the broadcasting scripts. Do you think India goes in as little favourite, considering that they know this ground better than the Australians?
Well, I think that gives them an advantage, but you need every advantage you can take, because Australia, player for player, are the best side in the world. If you ask yourself which Indian players, or which English player for that matter, would get into the Australian side, well, maybe 2 players perhaps, maybe Mandana, maybe Harmanpreet, Verma on a good day. Australia is so strong that India will need to use their local pitch knowledge to their advantage. Everything's got to go right for them, but we know it happens. Sides, even the very best sides, lose, and they lose if their opponent has the ability and is good enough and takes all of their advantages. I believe India can, but Australia is still favourites.
Absolutely. That was Daniel Norcross talking about his understanding of the game, perhaps an edge, how India can actually go into the match and secure that elusive win which Indian fans are looking for. This is Sunil Yashkalra signing off from Cape Town.
Now we have with us James King, a sports commentator from South Africa. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast, Mr. King. My first question to you is, what do you make of India's victory against Ireland and make it to the semi-final?
Hi Sunil, thank you for the opportunity to chat to you, and that victory against Ireland, putting India into the semi-finals, probably what was expected, but a little bit too tight, I think, and close for comfort for India. Only 5 runs in the end on the DLS method. Ireland coming back quite strongly with the bat, understanding, I'm sure, that the rain was close and they needed to get some runs on the board. But a good total by India again, 155 after that 140 against England that they got in the previous match, which did actually run them quite close to England in getting over the line there. It would have been really good for them, but not to be. Still, they're in the semi-finals, and Australia await in those semi-finals, which is going to be very interesting. We'll talk about that.
You know, Mr. King, Smriti Mandana finally comes into play, scoring 87 runs off just 56 balls, 9 fours and 3 sixes. What are your views on that?
Smriti Mandana, yes, coming through really well. It must be said, 87 off 56 balls, 9 fours, 3 sixes. And that goes and adds on to her 52 from the previous match against England, just peaking at the right time, 86, or highest score in T20 internationals. So the batting unit as a whole, I think not everybody's fired every day, and that doesn't happen in cricket. But you have had some really good performances. Jemima Rodriguez helping to get them over the line. You've had Harmanpreet also contributing. Rishi Ghosh has been outstanding as well in a number of the games so far. The only one that's really, she has chipped in, but perhaps not really realising her full potential at the moment, Shafali Verma, so we're expecting big things from her. And certainly, if one looks at that, could be a key component of India's batting in the game against Australia.
Now, India, despite a weak record against Australia, can it spring a surprise in your view?
Looking at Australia and India's record against them, well, everybody seems to have a poor record against Australia, it must be said. And India, yeah, in a semi-final, anything can happen, T20. It just really takes getting the runs on the board, putting the other team under pressure, or just a few wickets here and there. Australia looking immense at the moment, but they haven't had much time, the middle order, to bat. Talia McGrath the other day getting a really, really good chance to get out there in the middle against South Africa, after Australia were in a little bit of trouble earlier on against the hosts. But yeah, anything can happen. So India will be fired up for that game, as of course will Australia. So it could well be a very, very exciting encounter in Cape Town on Thursday this week, the 23rd. Don't miss it. It's going to be really good.
have, in fact, the matches panned out for India and women's cricket overall till now?
So I think matches panning out for India and women's cricket overall. Well, I think India have done particularly well in this tournament. They've chased down that total against Pakistan. They came close against England and destroyed the West Indies in the outing they had against them. Came a little bit close in the game against Ireland, as we said, but DLS coming into play with rain threatening. It was perhaps a little bit easier for Ireland to try and get to that total. Ireland have been improving, so not the easiest of games for India from that point of view, but 3 out of 4 and a slot in the semi-finals. I think they'll be happy with that. And Australia awaits for them. It certainly is going to be a mountain to climb, almost is women's cricket's Everest is Australia.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.